So why use perspective cards to share your faith? Well, I think perspective cards are very visual, tangible, and engaging. It serves as a third uh, object, a mediating object that you can use to have a more comfortable spiritual conversation with somebody. And perspective really comes from a perspective really that you can't take anything for granted when it comes to what somebody believes or why they believe it. There's no assumptions in today's world uh, that you can make. In the 50s and 60s, in America, people predominantly had a very similar worldview, an awareness of God, an awareness of their sin. But in our culture today, there's a lot of misinterpretation of biblical truth. There's a lot of ignorance of biblical truth. People aren't coming with the same background and understanding as they did 50 years ago. Our culture today is radically different now, 50 years later, from the time that a lot of the evangelism tools that we use today were created. And so we need to use tools that are creative and engaging, that don't make assumptions about what people believe. So perspective is a tool that allows people to really mine for and understand and ask really good questions about what is it that you believe? What is it that you believe about God, about the meaning and purpose of life, about yourself as a human and our nature, who Jesus is, what's the source of spiritual truth? And so asking those good questions, listening. People in today's society, in our world today, they expect Christians to be, by and large, very judgmental. And they expect us to be really good talkers and really poor listeners. And it's just critically important that we learn to listen and engage with people a little bit better than maybe what we have been. I was on the plane once, and a girl that I was talking to described to me the death of her mom in a car accident, and she was in that car as well when the accident happened. And she had tears in her face, and she turned to me and she said, "I have never told this story to anybody before. I've never told anyone this. And here I am, a stranger, and I tell you, I don't think she shared that with me because I was just talking up to her a lot. It was because I was spending time to listen to her, and the care that communicated, and the safety, an environment of safety that communicated, enables people to really open up. And as I've heard stories of other people using perspective, that's exactly what is happening. People are sharing their addictions, they're sharing difficult things in their life, and they're honestly sharing what they believe. And then when you share the gospel, you just have a much more open door, and the questions that you're asking is really challenging people in a sense, kind of in a passive way, allowing them to self-realize and self-discover, like, man, I just haven't thought about this stuff. I don't know what I believe or why I believe it. Maybe I should. These are big questions of life, and what do you believe? And so that really creates kind of this tension and this setup for you to then be able to go and transition to a conversation that says, okay, I have cards that help me communicate what it is that I believe, what the Bible says, and I would love to get your thoughts on those. And so it continues the same value of listening. Even in sharing the gospel, you use listening as the primary means of doing that. And in listening and continuing to learn about somebody, you're going to help them as you get their thoughts and you have them communicate those thoughts with you. You're going to help them process the gospel. You're going to help them. You're going to identify exactly what are the barriers to faith that this person has, and you're also going to be able to identify, is this person really ready to accept Christ? Because I think sometimes people are going to pray to make a decision to receive Christ, but they do not have a good understanding of the gospel. And I've just been excited to hear the stories, excited to hear how comfortable it is for people to share with perspective, and the length of conversation, the quality of conversation, which is really that goal, is really wonderful. And I think one other thing that I can think of that's helpful too is it's not just you pray the prayer or that's too bad kind of a thing. There's more options with perspective. There's another prayer that you can pray to ask God to help you understand Him, and you can converse with a person about what's the next step that they want to take in their spiritual journey. So it's the same gospel. Jesus is the only way. It's very clear about that, but it's kind of a new paradigm, a new method that I think is something that is needed for today, and for sure will be very needed in the future as our culture continues to go in a way of ignorance and misunderstanding when it comes to God, to Jesus, to the Bible, and those things. We'll need to be prepared for that.